Every worldview requires a foundation. To establish an absolute framework of reality, classical Islamic theology starts by defining exactly how knowledge binds to the human mind. The Arabic term for creed or theology is aqidah. It derives from the trilateral root aqida, which literally translates to tying a knot or binding something together with immense force. In classical theology, this linguistic root describes the epistemological goal, a cognitive and spiritual conviction so absolute that it leaves no room for doubt. This framework treats belief as the anchor of human reality, the cognitive knot that makes all other knowledge possible. Before applying external logic, the Islamic epistemological model establishes an internal baseline. It begins with internal necessity rather than external deduction. This is the concept of fitra. It is a preloaded operating system present within all human consciousness. The classical scholar Ibn Taymiyyah categorized the recognition of a creator as ilm daruri, necessary, unavoidable knowledge. Within this logic, the existence of God is the foundational baseline for all subsequent human thought. While this baseline is persistent, it can be obscured. Intensive societal conditioning or specific parental framing can overwrite and corrupt the original fitra. In this framework, denying the creator is a corruption of the mind's foundational software. Once the internal intuition of fitra is established, classical theology builds an external rational scaffold, what is known as aql, to demonstrate divine lordship, or tawhid al-rububiyyah. The first rational pathway is the argument of creation, or khalq. Premise 1 observes that entities in our universe emerge from non-existence. Premise 2 states that every emergent entity requires an originator. Therefore, a creator of absolute perfection must exist to initiate this sequence. The second rational pathway is the argument of precision, or itqan. This premise focuses on teleology. The universe is highly calibrated and perfectly proportioned for human utility. This level of calibration demands an intentional agent, proving the existence of a wise designer. The 8th century scholar Abu Hanifa illustrated this proof by asking materialists to imagine a heavily loaded cargo ship on the Tigris River. He described it navigating currents and delivering goods perfectly, all without a crew or captain. His opponents immediately dismissed the scenario as impossible. Abu Hanifa's point remains the core of the itqan argument. While existence points to a physical origin, the precise calibration of that existence points to intentional design. Beyond creation and precision lies the robust philosophical argument for God in Islamic theology, the problem of contingency, or iftikhar. The first premise of iftikhar is that emergent entities lack independent existence. They are contingent. To exist and persist, they rely constantly on a web of external factors. This constant reliance on external variables defines inherent deficiency. An object that requires outside energy to hold its form is by definition incomplete. Because every single observable entity in the universe is contingent and deficient, the collective universe cannot be self-sustaining. It logically demands an independent sustainer. This rational scaffold leads to a common materialist counterargument. If everything requires a creator, who created God? Classical philosophy addresses this through dower, or infinite regress. An infinite chain of contingent causes is impossible. If each creator requires a prior one, the chain never resolves, and reality never emerges. Islamic theology breaks this paradox by identifying wajib al-wujud, the necessary existence. Asking who created the creator is a category mistake. If the creator required an originator, he would be just another contingent variable in the chain. Terminating the causal chain at an uncreated creator provides the logical anchor necessary to explain why anything exists today. When we apply this classical theological scaffold to the modern era, it exposes the epistemological flaws in contemporary scientific materialism. Take Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, which is frequently used to argue against intentional cosmological design. The classical response is straightforward. Evolutionary mechanisms describe a process of biological change over time. They do not possess the absolute conscious agency required to initiate existence from non-existence. Similar logical gaps appear in modern cosmology, particularly in propositions regarding self-creating universes and the Big Bang. The materialist view of the Big Bang posits a singular point of temporal initiation. In Islamic theology, this aligns with the concept of hadath, or emergence. A universe that begins to exist requires an external catalyst operating outside of space and time. This brings us to the misconception of natural laws. Scientific laws, such as gravity, are descriptive measuring tapes. They do not possess prescriptive, creative agency to generate matter. Modern materialism confuses the description of the design with the agency of the designer. When logical frameworks like ibtikar and itkan are abandoned, belief fractures into deviations of divine lordship, categorized as shirk fi al-rububiyyah. The first categorical error is tatil, the denial or stripping of the Creator and his attributes from the universe. Modern atheism maps onto this classical heresy, mimicking ancient sects like the Dahriya, who claimed that time and physical nature were the only independent realities driving existence. The second categorical error is tamthil, assigning independent cosmological agency to secondary, created causes, elevating non-conscious mechanisms like natural laws to the status of an independent creator is a modern form of tamthil. Tawhid al-Rububiyyah provides the architecture where innate intuition, sensory observation, and philosophical deduction align.